Recording. All right, so it's 7 o'clock, so let me go through my normal spiel. This is the Park Commission meeting for April 13th of 2022. We are fully on Zoom tonight, so let me do a roll call of who's here. Dave Passios.
Here.
Pat Hakey.
Here.
Chris Sullivan.
Here.
And I am here, and Anna's not on yet that I can see. So just be advised, in accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, this meeting is being recorded and will be broadcast eventually over the Lunenburg Public Access Channel. The Zoom ID for anybody that's on that needs to call in, the number for that is 888-475-4499, and the meeting code on that is 792-737-0353. As always, my warning of every meeting that we're on Zoom, if you choose to share screen, please be careful of what you're sharing because everybody can see it, including those little tabs at the top of your page. I've seen some pretty funny stuff lately. Before we turn this over to Wola, do we have, Rob Thompson's coming on. Do we have any public or board comment before we turn it over? Perfect. You guys are making it easy. All right, let's see. Give me 1 minute, Catherine, because Anna just gone. So at least let me get her in here just so she can be with us from the start. Anna, let us know when you're on. I'm not quite connected.
I'm
yet.
on.
Okay, there she is. All right, Catherine, I need to give you access to share screen, correct?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, and I don't remember how to do that, so we're off to a great start. Oh, good grief. Give me 1 second. I got it. I think I got it.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone. I'm so glad that you're all able to be here tonight. We're excited to share with you the final design for the Envisioning the Future of Lunenburg's Marshall Park. My name is Catherine Ostermeyer, and I'm here tonight with Emily Wright. She is my fellow principal at Wright Ostermeyer Landscape Architects, as well as Allison Fairweather, our valuable team member and designer. And we've also got Nicholas Betts from Meridian Associates. And Nick has been a wonderful consultant on this, looking at utilities, stormwater, and wetlands. So we are excited to share the results of this project with you. I did that. So just to quickly walk down memory lane and where we started and how we've gotten to tonight. The project began with a kickoff Park Commission meeting way back in December. And we've also completed a site walk with Park Commission, Parks and Rec, and DPW. We've had a series of 3 community meetings, which have helped us to understand the goals of the community of Lunenburg, as well as the opportunities and constraints of the site. We've also received valuable feedback, which we've incorporated into each subsequent revision of the design. And most recently, we have met with the town manager, as well as a number of town stakeholders, including the fire chief, police chief, conservation commission, planning board, and others, to receive their comments on this final version of the design and to make sure that there wasn't anything that we had overlooked. Okay. So in terms of the feedback from the community of Lunenburg, we received feedback both from a survey done by the Park Commission, as well as a visioning process that we undertook with the community in person and via Zoom. The big requests were accessible walking track, playground, picnic concessions and restrooms, as well as the ball fields. Other positive and frequent responses were access to the pond, fitness, hard service courts, a lawn to play on, as well as a skate park and a dog park. In terms of the existing square footage versus the survey results, our takeaway from this, as well as from our meetings with the Park Commission, is that Lunenburg was looking for a Marshall Park with a more diverse complement of offerings, so that there's something for everyone to do at Marshall Park in the center of Lunenburg. We looked at the proposed and also existing amenities just to see how we were balancing things out and making sure that things were all included within the plan for Marshall Park. And so we had presented 2 design alternatives at our most recent public meeting, and the overwhelming consensus was that everybody preferred design option 1. And with further feedback from the Park Commission, we have developed a final plan which incorporates the highlights of option 1. I thought I would walk everybody through this, and then we'll get into a little more detail as we move to the core of the park. But for Marshall Park overall and how it interfaces with the town of Lunenburg, one of the big takeaways was that you really wanted parking in Marshall Park, and you wanted to relieve the pressure on the Chestnut Street in terms of parking on game days. So what we've done is included 2 main parking areas. One here off of Massachusetts Avenue has 94 spots, and up at Chestnut Street, we have 38 spots. We've also included 2 sort of pull-off spots over at the other end of Marshall Pond on Highland Street. We've also added a safer, can you see? Yeah, so we've added a safer pedestrian route into the park from Massachusetts Avenue. It's completely separated from the parking area itself so that it walks directly into the park. There's no need to for pedestrian and vehicle conflict in that area. Along Chestnut Street, we've also included a one-way drive-through parking lot with 38 spots. We've angled these to allow for the new 90-foot baseball diamond. And once inside the park, we have an 8-foot wide series of loops in asphalt for the walking path. You can choose your length of loop. We've also included a 4-foot wide loop, which comes from Chestnut Street, goes up to an overlook at Marshall Pond, and then comes back down and loops around back to the beginning. Zooming in a bit, we come to the core of the park, and we've included restrooms as well as a picnic pavilion in the center that will allow for the Parks and Recreation Department to hold their summer programming so that they have shelter and restrooms as well as concession for the kids. Little League and other organizations can sell concessions as they fundraise for their activities. We also have the overlook at the pond. And then at the entrance to the park, both from Massachusetts Avenue as well as along Chestnut, we've got pollinator gardens at the entrances and also sort of woven around through the park so that we are providing ecological benefit as well as beauty for visitors. In terms of the active sense at the core of the park, we've made sure that there is really something for everyone. There is a skate park that has been proposed in this location. We've also added pickleball and basketball courts in a sort of hard surface area. We've got a larger and smaller playground area around a central lawn so that the playground, the skate park, pickleball, and basketball are all centrally located around a lawn with picnic tables as well as easy access to the restrooms. And then we have repurposed the basketball or hard court area, which is in an advanced state of disrepair, into a dog park, which is immediately adjacent to the 4-foot walkway. We've also heard that the softball and baseball is a core part of Lunenburg's recreation. In this case, we have proposed a new softball field as well as a new 90-foot baseball diamond. The diamond is oriented east, south, east, northeast, and has the 325-foot foul poles. So it will meet requirements for the high school team. We've also got a new softball field. And around these fields, we've incorporated some of the special things about Lunenburg, particularly the Jason Montgomery Rogers Memorial Scoreboard. We thought that at the new announcers booth, that might be in memory of Susan Lee Ware. And then we've located the Dr. Michael Membrino Memorial Bench in this area as well. You know, the bench is flexible, but we thought that these things would be nice in a way, reweaving the history of Marshall Park into the present. We've also included bleachers on the periphery so that folks are able to watch over the baseball diamond or the softball field. And that, oops, oh dear. Okay. That didn't happen a minute ago. Sorry, everyone. Oh no.
It's okay.
I'm so
sure
sorry.
it will reset.
I'm gonna stop sharing for a minute while I figure out what just happened.
Catherine, would you like me or Allison to pull up the presentation and share it?
Well, I had handily saved it on my desktop so that I wouldn't run into problems. So let me actually upload it really quickly if that's all right.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone. Okay. You found it, Allison?
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
I
Thank
can.
you.
And Catherine, would you like me to scroll to the end?
Yes.
See here.
Can you please scroll to the slide just before the thank you? Thank you. There we go. All right. So the preferred design, we've received information from our cost estimator as well as from Meridian Associates. And the estimated total for the project, including insurance, contingency, and overhead, comes to $5,750,000. And I've provided a preliminary breakdown, just giving general idea of where the money is being spent on site work, recreational spaces, park amenities, and then parking trails. We will send over to the Park Commission a detailed cost estimate that includes the line item breakdown for all of these items. And I know that we had also talked previously with the Park Commission about a phased approach to the project. So, we were speaking with Meridian Associates, and it seemed like the first phase might be the parking from Massachusetts Avenue so that you're getting access to the site. And because the skate park is going in this summer, beginning to do the work in that area so that you're sort of working out. You don't have to get heavy machinery down to the hard courts once the skate park and playground are in. Second phase, we thought might be after the softball and baseball season, beginning construction on those two areas to reduce downtime. And also at that juncture, putting in the parking at Chestnut Street. And then moving on to stage 3, which would be the wetland trails and the wetland overlook. And then the penultimate phase, phase 4, over on Highland, is putting in the outlook and picnic area over at Marshall Pond. So these are a couple of ways that you can break things down over time. We're happy to provide additional detail on this, but that seemed like a way that would break it down into more doable parts.
Catherine, can
So,
I interrupt 1 second, ask a question?
yeah.
On that cost estimate, does that include like prevailing wage and stuff like that?
Yes,
Okay,
it does.
great,
Mhm.
thank you.
Yep. Yeah, we had it done at prevailing wage, and we've also included a contingency in there. Mhm.
Excellent. Thank you.
Can I ask a question,
Of course.
Catherine?
Yes.
With the with phase 1,
Mhm.
and how it's designed, would that interfere with any of the current fields?
That is a very good question, Anna. I think that we could, that might impact the softball field.
Okay.
We'll have to take a closer look at it. Some of this, so this is sort of a big idea. And
Right.
the next step is part of schematic design when you really start getting down to finer brass tacks is when understanding exactly how the grading interfaces as well as construction sequencing.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And Karen, the other big softball field we have is down at Fitzgerald, right?
Correct, but it's not a full-size field. It's more for instructional minor league age girls. So it's not something that we couldn't move the high school down there.
Okay. We don't have the space to grow there, like
We do
anyway,
not
that's it.
grow there. Nope.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Oh, of course.
With this piecemealing it together, how much was there a figure that to go with each one? A cost
That
figure?
we don't have that at this juncture.
All
We
right,
sort of have the entire project cost estimate.
right. I didn't know if there was.
Yeah, there's always a minor shift in costs in terms of remobilization when you're breaking things into phases. But yeah,
I also think we deal with the T-ball field in that one. We take that. That's one of the fields we would have to take out at that point too to do
right.
one.
Mhm.
Right, but the way it's designed, that can be done like at a later time, because like it is a phase 1, but that's the space of the T-ball, so it can be kind of worked in it. That I think the biggest disruption is it would be the softball field,
Right.
that we would need to figure that out. Yeah.
And
Okay.
the phases are flexible also. So if the scheduling for the softball field proves to not be feasible, you could include softball field in phase 1. we were sort of trying to give a sample of what these phases could look like.
Awesome.
Yeah,
It makes
it's
sense.
suggested phases. So I mean, if the funding is available, depending on when funding is available and the
Right.
baseball and softball fields make more sense to tackle because it's off season, then that's becomes phase one. I mean, it's, you know, we can, nice problem to have.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that's good.
Are there any other comments or questions? I'm happy to.
Is there a,
Mhm.
well, I think I noticed in one of the drawings that the kind of dashed box out in center
Yeah.
field is a bullpen. Is there a bullpen on the softball field? I think they have a cage set up next to the softball field that exists now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we haven't included that in this drawing for the softball field, but it could be incorporated.
Okay. And is there enough space for a second set of bleachers at the 90-foot diamond on the right field line? I would assume probably, maybe.
Yeah, we could, I think if we could double that up a little bit. We could certainly incorporate it in the, I guess I'm not annotating, am I? Hold on. Oh, because I'm not controlling. Yes, we could, it could be incorporated. Sorry, everyone. Zoom.
No, that's okay. A couple questions, and I just want to confirm and I think you did say the picnic and pavilion area. You eventually said with a concession stand, which means for me that it would have a space that we could incorporate what we need to do in order to meet the health board guidelines.
Mhm.
So, okay.
Yeah,
Because it would be a full concession stand.
Yes, we've included like a prefab unit.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Restroom,
that's a good idea.
as well as a concessionary. Yeah, that way you, it's functional. You can do really fun things with the design, with paint, but it also is economical and meets sort of future needs.
And you did say, and maybe this is not necessarily, I'm gonna quickly touch base on the skate park. The construction of the skate park is not included in here in this cost.
No, it is not.
Just, okay. Now you did say something about them starting the summer. I don't know if timeline
I think
has
it
been.
changed a little bit, but that was their original information to
Oh,
Wolo that they had planned. I think they might have changed a little bit, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I can certainly ask Anthony Cayosa to come to our next meeting and we can get that from him.
okay. All right. All right, that's well, I just want to make a comment. I am, what I had seen before, what you guys done on when you submitted your proposal and the parks that I knew, especially the one in Sudbury, I felt like you guys did a fabulous job. And looking at this design as you presented right now and being at all the meetings and hearing all the feedback that you got, I honestly think that you have done a wonderful job incorporating all the feedback and delivering what we have asked. And I think this design it's awesome. It's superb. You definitely heard everybody, and I'm very happy with it. So thank you.
It was our pleasure, and we had a great team. So I'm really glad that you're pleased.
So Catherine, you will be sending over the like the full estimate to the Parks Commission. I'll send that on to obviously our town manager. What, if any, next steps do you need from us?
We actually, there's nothing that I sort of can think of that we would need.
Okay.
We're happy to sort of tie things up. If you have questions regarding the cost estimate or any of the design, we're always happy to answer and provide any additional information or assistance that we can.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Dave, you've been exceptionally quiet. Do you have any questions?
No, not really. As I have stated in other meetings, I went into this not expecting to rearrange the entire park, but I'm excited with the layout, the way it looks, if we can afford to do it. The price is much lower than I've been kicking around in my head for the last 60 days. So I'm pleased there and hope we can stay within that type of a budget. The only question I have, I'm a little bit unclear as to what we've got over on Highland Street at the pond facility there. It looks more extensive than I thought we could fit in there, but I don't know what those, rectangular boxes actually indicate.
So previously, Dave, we had talked about continuing to use those sort of pull-off spots along Highland that are parallel to the street.
Right.
And this iteration, we thought that maybe having a small area to pull in off of Highland might be nice. We've got a small picnic area and a small lawn area. And that can, of course, be reduced if it feels a little excessive. But we wanted to give the option of having truly off-street parking there.
Yeah, okay. And I'm assuming that you guys have considered no touch zone and so on.
Yes, we have.
Okay, and just a note, the pond has expanded outward by probably 6 or 8 feet right at the moment because the beavers have brought the level up 3 feet.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Hey, if you want to be the bearer of any more bad news, because
No.
I love our beavers. I can only tell you that.
We have
I'm so
we have
happy
plenty
they're
of
there.
that, but we don't need it tonight.
I am happy they're there as well, Honor. I just wish that they'd keep their building so that we could still have a, decent water flow.
Yeah,
All right,
you
awesome.
gotta coexist and co-live.
They just cleared the culvert yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before they were out there. They had the whole thing out and they cleared it all.
Nice.
Okay, I haven't been by there since then.
Chris or Pat, do you have anything else for Wola?
I don't think, how wide, the parking lot on Mass Ave, how, like the loop that comes to the outside, like how wide is that? Just out of curiosity, like not the parking side, but I guess
The looped side, are you referring to the turning radius or the width of the actual?
No, just width of the road. I'm just envisioning like a drop off or they're picking up and there's a line of cars and someone's trying to drive by the outside of around another car kind of deal. Like, is that wide? Is that 2 cars wide kind of deal?
It's I believe it's a one-way loop.
Yeah, no, I get that. I would
Okay.
certainly anticipate and I'd hope that would be a one-way loop. I just mean,
Yeah.
I'm picturing people dropping off or picking up from a softball,
Got it.
Also,
baseball
now
game and
18
someone's trying to
consider
drive by
buses.
the car that's waiting for a kid in front of them kind of deal.
Yeah,
So is that 2 cars wide that someone could drive around a car pulled to the side of the
I
curb
think
or whatever?
we would want to, I think we're at 18 or 20. I apologize, I can't remember off the top. I think 20 would give just enough space for someone to pass. And
was
it could
20 when I
certainly
measured it.
be enlarged by 1 or 2 feet. Oh, Nick?
Yeah, sorry, it was 20 feet when I measured it.
Okay.
And
Yep,
that would be
20.
wide enough to pass a car.
Great, thank you.
Good deal. Thank you.
Is there any consideration for the buses too? Because there's gonna be, the high school is gonna be dropping kids off with buses, visiting
So
team.
we have a turning radius wide enough for the buses to drive through, pause, and then drop kids off and drive on out of there. We don't have bus parking, but they are able to move through the parking lot and drop kids off. Mhm.
I did want to mention, Chris, since you were at that presentation with us with town manager on Monday, that Catherine did get back to us and there is enough turning radius for our largest emergency vehicle in town. And that was at a request of Chief Sullivan. So we are good. We're good there as well. So awesome. Thank you guys so much. And Emily, Allison, Nick, it's been an exciting time for us to go through this process. It's I think I've learned a lot, especially, never having done this before. So I'm excited to see where this goes from here. And I appreciate all the work and your patience in dealing with me. It's been great.
Yeah, no, it's been a wonderful process. There's so much opportunity in Marshall Park, and we've really enjoyed working with the commission and with the community. yeah, we would happy to help you out with any schematic or any future assistance that you might need in this process. And I keep meaning to send you, Karen, I have some funding ideas that I will email along to you.
Perfect, perfect. Great.
Right.
Thank you so guys so very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening and we'll be in touch as needed. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
thanks
Thank
so
you all.
much.
Thank
Bye,
you so
everyone.
much.
You,
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. All right. That was good. That was good. So once that estimate comes in, if it comes in to just me, I'll make sure that you all get a copy of it. And I'll get it over to town manager and we'll start figuring out what our next steps should be if we're gonna move forward with this project. All right.
You know,
Yes.
one thing we didn't talk about it, but I don't think it changes where things are per se. You know, if the skate park doesn't come to fruition, we don't have sort of a backup plan for that spot, but it's really on a corner, so I don't think overall design of the park would change much.
And honestly,
But
although there's not a backup plan on that design, it could be, you know, we could either leave it wooded or it could easily be moved to grass space.
right.
T-ball or it's T-ball or basketball and pickleball court or
Exactly.
T-ball
Exactly.
stadium, you know,
Perfect.
whatever.
I-
There's options.
And I'm having a really difficult time not seeing the skate park come to fruition. Only because I know where they are. They've, you know, really steamed ahead with their fundraising. And I think they're feeling like they're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So
They're close. Yeah.
yeah, as I'm watching
You know how close they are?
their numbers, I don't have it off. I don't have it off the top of my head. But I was gonna ask, a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, some of the skate park kids went to the select board and did a big presentation to them. I'd like them to come and do something similar to us, just to let us know where they are in the process, their fundraising, what their plans are. And I actually do have them down as an agenda item in a second because they
Okay.
made the rest of us. So I'll get them in. And I've asked the boys to come and do it. So hopefully we can make that happen. All
I
right,
think
so
they're
back
somewhere around
for,
175 grand. That
I
raise,
want
I
to
think.
even say, might even be a little bit higher than that at this point. Did you just pull that off of their?
There was an email that I saw.
Okay, okay.
So it was somewhere in that, and it was a general sort of email. So it wasn't an exact number.
What's
but,
the number they're looking for?
250, 225?
I want to
Okay.
say 225 or 250.
Yeah. So they're not
Well,
that far.
remember, it's more about what number are we looking for to give them the permission to build. It's,
And they'll,
you shouldn't
and that's all
forget
gonna,
that.
and I have it, and that's all gonna
Okay.
be, I think there's gonna be pieces of the puzzle that as we get closer, that will have to be executed in terms of, you know, guaranteeing that their, you know, in-kind donations come through and that sort of thing. So we'll get that figured out. All right, so the next on our agenda is approval of minutes. I don't have anything for you. Let me rephrase that. The new minutes taker, she did send something over to me. I started looking at it and I wanted to correct the spelling of some folks' last names before I put it out there. It just helps with making the flow easier if you guys have any changes to those. So I held them. I'll get it ready for our next meeting. So on to the next thing, which is our recreation director update.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
hey,
Yes.
Rob,
All right. All right. Yeah, that was a beautiful presentation about for WOLA, and I definitely am excited about that. We have on the calendar some great developments in terms of Viking sports will be coming back this summer. We're working out a calendar right now with them. They've got more staff coming in, so as well as another company for sports clinics. So whatever demand we have to meet in terms of what kids are really looking for in sports, we can most likely dominate this year. So that's in the works. We have mountain biking and biking tours that will be as of April 20th, April 27th. So things like that. The basketball clinic had its first run, and they did reasonably well. So we're
It's a
looking
good
for
turnout. I
more.
was down there for that. That was good.
Yep. So the feedback is awesome. Yeah, and as of so far, yeah, there's a lot of great developments in terms of the companies reaching back to Lunenburg. So as we move forward, get to know the demand of what parents are looking for. We're going to start to meet the demand of the younger kids, and we'll see what type of sports we're looking for and which age range you pass 6th grade and stuff. But K through 6, we will be able to cover with basketball clinics, soccer clinics, and things alike.
Great. Thank you on that. While we're talking about programming type stuff, did either the high school program or the Little League programs give you a schedule?
The high school has given me a schedule. Little League, we are still awaiting on that information, roster and scheduling. As well as I have other teams that you would like to use the field, to include the Lunenburg Phillies, but they work around whatever schedules they have.
They're the easiest group of people to work with. They're
Yes, they
great. You had mentioned in one of our conversations previously that there was an outside group that wanted to use the field.
Yeah, we have private companies like from Pioneer Park, and they're reaching out, and they would like to use our field. And it's when they find out we have no bathrooms, it's kind of a shock to them. But they would like to use our field, and I'm in discussion with if we have a field that will accommodate them having a party with no bathrooms. But that's something. Yeah, outside parties do look at our fields and say,
are they requesting, like, how much usage are they requesting? Is it like just a day or two, or are they looking for something more?
No. This in particular group, they want to have a work softball tournament just for that day. So we have a price breakdown for per person or per hour. I think they're hoping to go with the per hour, but that is something I would like some little clarification on. But if it's a one-off, I would imagine it's not.
Well, no, I was just thinking that if it was if they were requesting, more usage, that if it was something that we wanted to bring up, discussions on bathroom facilities, again, putting in something portable, we certainly could. I don't know if we'd have enough support to do it for a single day event, but I was just curious what their request was. All right, if I'm happy to, where to find me. I can offer any clarification that you need on any of the pricing structures that we have.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any other? Yep.
I was gonna say, if you have idea, if you know kind of what some of these camps might be and so forth, definitely push that out to us too. We're happy to share that.
Yeah.
Along
I guess
the Lunenburg airwaves and so forth as well. There
Yeah,
has been some Facebook chatter about sports camps and questions about summer and things like that. So I definitely want to try and address those if we can.
Yeah,
so happy to share.
I think I would like to really know what would be the, is football, our thing, towards the fall, is is baseball predominantly right now. I hear soccer, people want to play soccer, people want pickup games, people, they want to be involved in activities. They want multiple phased activities, not just one thing per day. If we could do a multiple range of events, and I believe we can. I just need to work out what it is, what few things we would like to knock out now, and then as we understand how our vendors are working, to have, like I said, to be able to have programming that is robust and somewhat in demand.
And I'm happy to come in and sit with you at any point in the next week or so as well, to sort of go over what programming was out there last year, because even though there was way too much programming out there last year, and then we had all the problems, we did have a couple of programs that had enough registrants to actually run. And I can I can go back in my notes and figure out what those were and pass them on. And I think Viking Sports ran at least one of them. So, you know, something like that might be good. Definitely any adult sports activity. A few years back, when we had a former commissioner who actually ran the adult softball league in the summer. And I don't, Chris, did you participate in that?
I did, yeah.
And
Yeah.
was John Palumbo there every week?
No.
But he
There was,
like,
there were, I mean, there's people that will take care
Like,
of
I
it.
feel
You know what I
like
mean?
it was
That'll,
one of
that'll run
those-
itself. Yeah,
yeah, that's what
that'll run
yeah,
itself.
it ran like we just collected the release forms for the town, and then again the program just sort of ran itself. So
It's
you
like
know,
the
any-
adult soccer, Rob. It runs,
Exactly.
I mean, there's a dedicated group that'll be there every week, and then there'll be others that'll come in and out, and then you just rely on some of those dedicated folks that'll gather up your forms and grab checks or whatever, or they can register on MyRec actually, and then you just give them a registration list and they know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I definitely that brought up another subject. My rec. I'm not sure how everybody feels about the use of my rec and how it implements what our needs for recreation. But as a one-man show, you know, I'm not sure if this is the time to bring it up. It's not as laid out as it should be in terms of like you should know it in and out when you're setting up programs, and you should kind of really know, you know, what point you're at, and if you're missing something, a date, time, whatever. I feel the programming of my rec might be a little outdated at best. I think
if you have a different, if you are thinking you want to go in a different direction, I don't think we would be against that. None of us know the program, so.
Mhm.
You know,
Can I give a couple of thoughts? So, Rob, if you have another program, another software that has some of the benefits that my rack has, and you'd like to replace it, I think there is a value to that. But there is also a value on we have something that's up and running, and even though it might be limited in terms of capabilities, it is something that we can tap onto now versus setting up. So as a suggestion for you, because I don't think, you know, this would necessarily fall into our decisions, I would look into, you know, using what's there available now and getting the most benefit of what's there versus taking the time of setting something up, because we are talking sometimes, and I am fairly familiar with like different systems and this and that. And it is always like you give up something, you get something, give up something else. You know, there's this whistle, something is really awesome and it may seem like it's going to solve all your problems, but I'm going to tell you, without knowing much, inevitably you're going to lose something that you have. The other thing that I'll say is, because your time is limited, I am familiar with, you know, websites, how websites works and how things can work. I'll be happy to volunteer regular hours of my week to help you keeping my rack updated and running, and I can be the point person for that. It would be very limited what I would be doing. So you'd be doing, but I could like get an email from you or from whoever is doing. But so anyway, so one is I want to offer my volunteer hours to help run my rack in order for us to get something running. And two, if you don't want to do that, I'll be very cautious on trying to start something from scratch and having it running for the summer, because I do find the time to be limited based on your scheduled hours.
yes. This was not I was not going to suggest we immediately replace anything that's working. I'm just trying to be up on with what customers, how they navigate and what we're offering in terms of how well does it work for a one-person operation to streamline into the programming. Programming's fine. It's what it offers on the mobile side. You know, when we start doing the cash and handling tickets, we're doing beach passes and all these things. My rec it's it does everything you need it to do when you have the ability to have, like you said, have people administer it, and somebody putting their time in. But from my experience working with other recreational programs, it is not one of the best comprehensive programs I've ever been sitting behind, and it should be user friendly, and it's far from it.
I 100% agree with
Yeah.
you.
But no plans on implementing for this year.
But what I'm also offering is, like, I can probably offer you, anywhere from 4 to 8 hours a week that I'll be able to dedicate to updating the website, because usually those things can be done off my work hours, and I'm happy. It's kind of like my day job. I'm happy to do it, and between you and I, we can figure out how to get the information coming and going, so anyway, I'm offering you the time and committing my time from now into forever. I'm assuming I'm going to be reelected.
I appreciate that. No, I definitely will take you up on that for sure. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll wait for your email. If you want to reach out, 4 to 8 hours a week I can most certainly dedicate to helping run my rack. Okay.
Oh, fantastic. All right, thank you. I will.
Thank you.
I'll take you up on that.
Appreciate it. I'd love to.
I did see someone at leaving the soccer field last night, Rob. They did ask about adult soccer.
Okay, good.
As well for the, some of the fields right now are in pretty rough shape over at the high school. So I don't envision they're going to want adults trampling on the fields right now. I know Lunenburg soccer. Yeah, they're wet still. They're soft, and there's not a lot of grass. The Lunenburg soccer is not using the front field, Mass Hatfield at all. That's been held for lacrosse, and so we're using the ones inside the fence right now. But they're pretty soft and muddy. But there was a question, so maybe come summertime or whatnot. And again, I don't want to step on the school's toes either, because they do have that director of community schools person that has run. But I know they're running the adult basketball program right now at the school. So I don't know if that's however we want to approach that sort of deal. But I know it would be something that would be of interest to carry into the fall again next year.
Absolutely. I'm sure we can find a few hours in between. So
Great, thank you. So on the money front of collecting of the fees, I know that Little League had, they made an initial payment. Have you been able to connect with them for the remainder, or have they not?
He has not finished to square up with last year's, but they have in good, they said in good faith they're going to get me that roster to correct that deficit, and then pay for this year.
Last year wasn't all that much though, correct? Okay.
Depends on how you look at it, but
yeah. Well, so I think if my memory serves me right, they didn't pay for their summer program. Is that?
No, yeah, they I don't know what was the holdup, but they stalled out on the payment, and it wasn't until we finally come to terms where you need to at least square up half of your roster, and then that's what they're going to finish up with the rest. And I've been reassured by 2 people from the Little League that it's going to be squared up.
If you don't get anything, just let somebody know. I don't mind pounding the pavement either.
No, certainly.
Does anybody have any questions for Rob before we move to the next agenda item? Or did you have anything else, Rob?
No, that was
Rob,
it.
I have a request.
Sure.
And my phone, of course, is. I'm wondering if you talked about some of the things that you're doing, that you're hoping to accomplish, in terms of programs. Is there a way that you can put all this in an email into what you have settled, what are the other possibilities, and maybe send it out? I know we touched the base on a few. In my mind, I just like sometimes looking at things are written so then I can get a vision and, just fully understand? Is that something you can
Absolutely.
do for us?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can put down some concrete things that we are, moving forward. You'll begin to see that are consistent. And then, the more whimsical ideas I can put on the back burner and
Yeah,
see,
and you can put it as, exploring and not defined, but I just want to kind of get an idea of what has been defined and what, timings and everything.
Absolutely.
There was something else, and I got thinking about one thing too much. Oh my God. So, okay, I'm sure maybe I'll send you an email if I remember the other thing. But thank
That'll
you.
be fine. And if anybody ever has any questions or any ideas, please, I love bouncing ideas off the community. This is not a one-way street where it's
That's
a
what it
moving
was.
target.
Okay, so that was actually what it was. See, thank you for saying that. Have you thought about maybe putting a survey together to see what people are interested?
I'm putting out surveys all the time. You give me the questions. How about that? Because
what do you mean you're putting out surveys all the time?
Well,
like
when I do an event, like I'm sorry, I forgot to mention. I am doing something with the Easter egg hunt. I believe this Saturday. I'm sorry, I should have it. But I'm going to have a survey available for them. So I'm hoping to generate some information from that. I had a discussion, or one of the activities I had was a music discussion, and I took surveys then. And where if I'm capable of putting out surveys, it's just having the right questions is really, I can talk about things all day, but what do you want to do?
Right.
That's if it's sport related, that's one particular lane. If it's I just want my kid to get off the couch, that's a whole different lane.
So I have a question for you. Where are
Sure.
you advertising those surveys?
Well, that's it. I'll be putting, I guess I should be using SurveyMonkey, but I've just been doing it by paper.
Right. And how are you collecting the answers to that?
Oh, I'm basically, I give the survey, I administer the survey, and I take them back. And if I've got an avenue to.
So he did a program, Anna. He did a music program back in, I don't remember when, the fall. And he handed out a survey and asked for feedback and got, and collected it as the people were leaving.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So Rob, if I can give you a couple suggestions here.
Please do.
If you're looking to find out what would be a desired program for the summer, for the age groups. So for example, I can think of, trying to really, you can probably get a grasp of our age groups based on school enrollment, but maybe interest, you can put a survey together, it can be even I think what Chris did was just a Google Doc kind of question and answer. And then you can, so put in that question. So then as you're planning the programming, you can do it according to what people are interested in doing, or the information they gave you. And when you do it, I think it's very important to advertise on social media. And when I say advertise, is put a link on the Lunenburg Parks and Recreation page, and then share that with the local pages. That's what I'm thinking. So for example, the Facebook page, we haven't had any updates on any programs that you have put together, that you have done. And I think that's a mess on how to get more people involved.
Oh, I totally agree. And, it's not for a lack of trying. I'm given all this technology, and you would think I'd be flying through it, but I'm definitely not where I would like to be, for sure. And I take that advice for sure. Surveys.
So
an easy way with the school, I know, if you reach out to the superintendent, I'm sure, in particular, we're talking about younger kids for summer programming and so forth, so they can do a targeted email at,
right.
the primary school and Turkey Hill. That's going to cover you K through 5, which is who your summer programming is probably going to target. I know coming 6th grade, you can go to the Boys and Girls Club. They have a good summer program starting up. So that's a good resource for you, and that'll definitely just hone right into your target audience, and every family's going to get that email.
Yep. For sure.
And I can help you with that stuff too, Rob. I can throw some graphics together but we can chat early next week and you can give me a lowdown of the programming that you already have on the calendar, and I can help put some stuff together to get that out there.
Great.
Yeah, I can put together a Google survey
Yeah,
or whatever. If
this
you know
is-
if you know kind of, if you have a targeted list of sports programs that you could offer, I'm sure we can, a quick
Excellent.
3-question sort of survey kind of deal. We can, age of your child or what grade and, what sports are they interested in and how many weeks of camp are you looking for and, willing to spend kind of thing. I think
Yeah.
Well,
What you want?
Rob, like when you come to our meetings too, as we talk, one thing that just crossed my mind, like we've been telling you, things that we can, that I think what we are really doing is giving you historic information of what has done, what things have been successful. But when you come to our meetings and if you come with a wish list of what you'd like to do, we can then tap into this information we have and guide you or give you the information you're looking for. And I know Karen is a resource that she keeps saying, I'll help too.
I will be, Anna, I will be completely honest with everybody. Rob has been awesome he's always been awesome, but in the past, week or so, he has reached out and asked questions and got clarifying information. So I'm,
that's awesome. And
yeah.
So Rob, when you come to our meetings, have your wish list of what you'd like help with, especially because of your limited hours. Like just now, for example, I offered to help with a website with my rack, right? So if you come, like if you come with that wish list, like, hey, I'm trying to get my rack up and running, but the administrative work of that is just too much within the 20 hours that I have. I can, you might get that help from us. Yeah. With the 19 hours I have, you might get that help here, with people that have. So another suggestion, come with a wish list.
I certainly will.
And this is going to be a team effort, because if it's not, you've got the 5 of us, when we put our heads together, we can sort of figure anything. So, and I think we have a music teacher on your shoulder right now. It sounds like she could lead some vocal training for the rest of us.
Yes, she's wondering why nobody's talking, but she can't hear you.
That's okay. That's okay. I was going to say hi to her, but I'm like, she won't be able to hear me. So yeah, we're always happy to help. And
all right.
I think you've learned that in the last week, that all you have to do is, reach out.
I like the fact that you're all very candid about this, and I really appreciate that. And moving definitely forward, I'm going to tap into all of you for resources for sure. Thank you.
I'm gonna tackle a subject that is probably more in your wheelhouse than in mine, but where I have the history of it, I'm gonna throw it out there, of the events of the last couple of days. And Dave had to step away for a second, but I think he is still listening. The Little League has yet again not followed the proper procedures in installing portable toilets at the field. It's something that the Parks Commission really doesn't have to do anything with at this point, and that'll be clear in a second why, but I just want to make sure everybody's aware, as I have a feeling we might be hit with some feedback in the next couple of days. The Board of Health was made aware of these portable facilities, and they arranged at 6 o'clock this morning for the removal of the portable facilities over at Marshall Park. So the portable facilities that were installed over there were removed at Marshall Park. It's my understanding they're in the process of also removing the facilities over at McNally and at Fitzgerald Field. There's one at each location. That was a decision, we as a group may have made the same decision, but it was a decision that was executed by the Board of Health. Folks are welcome to call the Board of Health if they have any questions around that. These policies and procedures have been made clear multiple times. And so there really wasn't, I'm not really sure what the difficulty was here in making sure that it was done correctly. I have obviously spoken with Rob about it. Rob's spoken to the Board of Health. Rob has most likely spoken with Dave as well. So that situation is going on. The other one is we received, by we, I mean Rob, received an email earlier this week from a resident who's very involved over at McNally Field with some concerns over structural integrity of the snack shack over at McNally. And in the next day or two, the building inspector will be going over there to inspect that facility. I don't want to completely speak out of turn, but there is a very high likelihood that that facility will not be able to be utilized this year due to some structural issues, especially if the structural issues appear to be what's holding up the first and the second floor from the first floor. I don't know how that building was built, but Rob is on top of that. So we as a commission may be getting some feedback on one or both of those things. And all I can say on the porta potty one is, you know, we can, I don't know if we put it on the MyRec website, but we had emailed it out to Little League back in July of 2021. We can make it available on our site. Our policies and Board of Health policies were also sent over to them as well. So we can always refer them back to there. And Rob, in order for those to go back in, they're going to have to follow, I'm assuming they're going to want them back in, they're going to have to follow the proper protocols. If they show up again, I think we're going to have a bigger discussion on what the ramifications are when they do things like this without following the proper procedures. So, Dave, did I do that one justice?
Can everybody hear me? I want to make sure I get everything back on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you covered everything perfectly. And as you just said, I don't think they'll be back there unless they do it under cover of darkness again, sort of, and they will get removed again by the Board of Health. So, yeah, I mean, as you outlined a few minutes ago, we've been through this for more than a season now. So this was the only alternative, and the Board of Health was well within their legal right to have them removed immediately.
I have some questions.
Yeah.
Can I have, and this might be questions that, you know, maybe we don't have the answer because it's a Board of Health. But what was the procedure that was not followed that caused to be removed?
So basically everything, every procedure on it, and I can forward it on to you. So let's even just start with the parks piece of it, which was we needed to be notified that, you know, portable facilities were wanted. So we could also approve of the location of where they were going to go in. We requested a copy of the contract that they had with their vendor, and that was so we would know who the vendor was and the contact information. The Board of Health had very similar requests, and they right down to they also had to have they had to have some sort of permit to be something in town, didn't they, Dave? I don't have it right in front of me. Let me see if I can get it.
Yeah, I think part of the reason that the documentation needs to be in place is the Board of Health needs to be sure that it's a licensed entity that's servicing the portable toilets. And that's nothing new. That's been going on for years. Shady Point puts in their permit request every year in February, and it's approved, and they stage it because their crowd grows and shrinks. So they have it actually laid out with X number of toilets at the beginning of the season. It ramps up to whatever number it is at the height, and then it backs down over the back end of the season.
Yeah,
This
so
has been going on for years.
I have it right here, Anna. So on the Board of Health side, not our side, they require a plan showing the location of all porta toilets, the name and contact information for the company providing the porta toilets, a copy of the service agreement, and a duration of placement of porta toilets, and a copy of the septage hauler's license for the company providing porta toilets. None of that was done, and obviously none of us knew that it was going in, and Rob certainly didn't know they were going in. This is something that we, you know, obviously we took seriously last summer when all of that stuff started to happen last summer.
So it seems like it was a Board of Health decision, so we don't have any say on it. So there's nothing on that. But generally speaking, I am pro park. I am for pro people using parks. So I wish, generally speaking, that, just as we did last year, and I don't know, maybe this was done, an email was sent out to Little League and say,
It was.
"Hey, where's the paperwork?"
It was,
And
Anna, I will honestly tell you that Rob did his due diligence to be in touch
I'm not
with,
talking about, okay, I'm
for
saying
this
from
time
the
around,
Board of Health.
this time around, Rob, you had stepped in, was it late last week or earlier this week?
Mhm.
To try to
Late
get
last week.
rectified. So it wasn't from lack of trying to get it taken care of. And actually Rob stepped in to try to resolve it before it even made its way over to the Board of Health. But once the Board of Health found it, they were not happy. It's
Okay.
taken way too much of my time yesterday and this morning, as well as Dave's time, because this is his former wheelhouse, so he was familiar with that. So and it's unfortunate because I don't think any of us would have said no to it. None of it we wouldn't have said no to any of it. We just asked for a few things to be done before it happened, and it wasn't. So
No, I hear that. I mean,
No.
I just want to, us to do more and not less in parks. But anyway, that's all.
I think that's what we are doing. We are doing more. Like, that's the reason we've set policy in place, because policy
Right.
hasn't existed for any of our parks. And so if we have a group that is a regular user of our parks, not following a procedure that we've all spent time to establish, in part for this very reason, so the Board of Health doesn't have to step in and regulate after what we witnessed last summer.
Right. No, I agree.
The reason why we have it here, and so we need to, yes, I think all of us are for, pro park and pro participation and more use of our parks and so forth. But, an example has to be made, if that's the right phrase. And, and unfortunately, this is the end result. And it's not the first discussion either. I mean, I think if maybe it's a different scenario if this is the first discussion, but
right,
it's not. And it wasn't even a decision that we had to make as a commission.
Right.
It was already, it's been taken care of. But I think, it does shed light on, the fact that we do have policies in place for our land, and it needs to be followed.
Right. No, I agree with that. I agree. I don't disagree with anything that has been said. I just wish it was different, a different outcome, but that's fine. All right. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Just,
Thank you, Rob.
I'd like to mention to the board too. I follow social media. I'm out in the parks at least twice a week, and I'm getting feedback, and there've been some comments made at different times in the last 3 weeks or so, starting to filter in from the public of why aren't there restrooms at Wallace? Why aren't there restrooms at the 90-foot diamond for the baseball teams? So this is going to start to build. So just be aware that we're going to continue to have this discussion as long as there are not facilities, active facilities. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't any because there was never any. And we are currently working on a master plan to put bathrooms in there. Well, they were at some point.
One park.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into it. We could have taken care of this.
Oh, you did, Dave. You bring stuff up and then you don't want to get into it. So don't do that.
Well, you
want to bring stuff up. Bring
way.
it stuff up. Yeah.
Okay.
So don't bring stuff up and bring stuff up. Don't say I don't want to get into it. You did.
We're not going to argue over it. It's just not going to.
I can keep you on until 10 o'clock tonight if you like, but I'm not going to. I'm going to close my mouth.
But you literally brought it up.
It's
Dave.
okay.
You
All right,
literally
listen.
brought it up.
We will deal with the issues as they arise. We always deal with issues as, we try to be proactive. We're not always successful. If we have to be reactive at some point, we'll be reactive at some point. We'll figure it out. But we're not going to argue over it. It just, at this point, it's not something that we are putting in at the moment And it would have to be a bigger discussion anyway, because I followed some of that same conversation that I think Dave's mentioning. And, you know, some of the residents there over at Wallace Park have concerns over portable facilities in that park. So it would have to be a bigger discussion, include not just with us if we wanted to move forward with it. So if the need arises, if there's something that we have to put back on our agenda, we absolutely will put it back on our agenda and we'll deal with it. All right, let's move on to what I'm hoping is an easy agenda item. The skate park is requested to move that fundraising sign from the TC Passios grass area over to Marshall Park. I didn't think it was something that I could give direct permission for, so I wanted to bring it to the committee.
You know where they're planning to put it at, Marshall?
Didn't ask him specifically. If you have some suggestions, I would assume it would be somewhere in the playgrounds, like that wooded area, in an area where they would be going in, probably in a direction that would get as much visibility as they could.
Okay, the only other thing is that the highest visibility would be out near the Marshall Park sign at the end, towards the end of the driveway, but stay out of the state right away. Much more visibility.
That would be an idea.
Well, you know, there are, and I don't know how would that apply, but there are signs bylaws in town. And although we can say, yeah, you can put a sign here, like whoever puts a sign needs to make sure it conforms with town bylaws.
I'm assuming that it conforms if it's already up in the center of town.
I don't know if that was, so it's not in our land, so we don't know if they did that. Now it's coming to a park, and I want to make sure it conforms with the
No, that's
bylaw.
fine. That's
the
fine.
bylaws.
So
Okay.
I guess that's fine. We can certainly add that. Does anybody have an issue with moving the sign, having the sign moved over to Marshall Park as long as it conforms with the bylaw?
No, I like Dave's idea, just from
Yeah, I do
their,
too. I like
from their
that.
standpoint, you know, put it right out on, you know, I mean, if I'm understanding, you know, out on 2A.
I make a motion that we authorize the skate park people, after verification that the sign is appropriate under any town bylaws, to post a sign near the entrance to Marshall Park on Route 2A.
Second.
Great. Since we're Zoom, it's going to be a roll call. Chris?
Aye.
Dave?
I
Pat?
Aye.
Anna?
I
And an aye for myself. I'll let Anthony know.
Tell him he's got to update the red bar though. They get their
I'll tell him.
thermostat. That's got to be
Okay, I'll tell him.
turned up.
All right. So the next one is beach, the beach season. Rob, after our last, you should probably all remember this, but there were a couple of names that I was surprised we didn't have the applications for that I knew had applied. You have those names, Rob?
I do. Yes.
Do you have any other applicants?
I have no other applicants that have went through the process.
Okay. So these two additional applicants that we have are for Mason Bowser and
Yes.
for Ian Laundry, both returning lifeguards, both with good reviews, outstanding reviews from last season.
Yes.
Are you recommending hiring of those two?
I am recommending hiring those two candidates, Ethan Laundry and Mason
Ian.
Bowser.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
Ian Bowser. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thanks. Can I get a motion to recommend approval to the town manager of Ian Laundry and Mason Bowser?
I'll make a motion to recommend Ethan and
Ian.
Bowser. Ian, excuse me, Ian and, yeah.
Ian and
yeah,
Mason.
yes.
Second.
Okay, quick roll call on this. Chris?
Aye.
Dave?
I
Pat?
Aye.
I
And an aye for myself. Great, I'll send that over to town manager. I don't know, did you hear if they ratified those positions of our last recommendation, Rob?
I did not.
Okay, I'll try to
They
follow up
did.
on those. They did?
I haven't missed a Board of Selectmen meeting in a couple months.
Yeah, I didn't.
Just be aware too, Rob, make sure you get that over to Heather.
I did already. I
Oh, okay,
proactively.
that's fine, because they're skipping, I think it's next week's meeting, and they are meeting the last Tuesday of the month.
Thank you.
Okay. And I usually send it, I'm gonna send an email momentarily anyway, I normally do after. But I'm not used to having somebody here to help us do that. So, okay, we'll get that done. What else do you have? All right, so portable toilets.
Yes. I have quotes for portable toilets as well as quotes for what we were deeming for the designated safety zones created by Jersey barriers. So I have another proposal, but I'm not sure where we want to start. I can give you the quotes. I can give you.
Whatever you want.
Okay, so what I'm proposing is, I believe we talked about having Jersey barriers from the gate of the beach all the way over to the former playground side of the beach house. We can do that, certainly. The quotes I've got for the Jersey barriers were $300 per 10-foot span units. We would need 6 of them, and it would be a delivery cost. I hope he said it was $250 for the entire delivery, but I believe the delivery cost, I wouldn't imagine it was $250 per. So $250 and $300 per. We have to place those barriers. DPW has to be involved. It's gonna, I wouldn't imagine it being too complex, but they will have to be put down. You're going to lose prime parking area for a place that has no parking. So that's the concern of mine. That being said, I have another proposal. If we could consider placing the porta potties at the far end of the beach, away from the beach house, the far end, and one benefit would be it would enable us to keep everything kind of contained. Nobody has to step out of the beach area to go use the facilities. 2, it would there'd be an additional cost. There'd be another cost, but it would eliminate the cost of the Jersey barriers. So what I would propose would be to put a gate on the far end of the beach. One benefit would be if there was ever an emergency, you can open all gates if whatever necessarily to be able to access the beach. But if we put a gate up, the cost would be, I just got the quote literally a couple hours ago, and it was under $800. But that's something I would like everybody to consider, as
Rob, can I
opposed to.
hold you up for just half a second?
Yes.
There is a gate way down on that far end, but I don't know if it gives you any access. It's right where the drainage comes from, that side road where the barrels in the road. I think
Yes.
that was for access to maintain the drainage, so it probably doesn't help you any.
No. That's the reason why I got the quote, was just to see if it was a feasible plan, and if everybody, there's not such a pitch at the end at that area. It can be flattened out a little bit, a few blocks, and you can safely place these porta potties. And it's 60 feet away, 60 feet to the edge of the fence from the water. I believe the concerns would be people coming on from the water, from a canoe or something to use the porta potties, but we would secure the facilities. And if we have to, chain them to the fence so they don't succumb to anybody trying to flip them over. So that leads me to the quotes of the porta potties, which, by the way, are going up almost seems like every month. But I got 2 quotes for the portable facilities. An ADA compliant handicap porta potty is $400 for a 28-day cycle. They clean it weekly. So sorry, $450 for the ADA compliant. And then the regular toilets would be $200 for a 28-day cycle. That is from, I believe, Sheldon. So I have another quote from another service provider, and their bathrooms run roughly $627 for a 28-day cycle. and their bathroom units are $397 per 28-day billing cycle. And they suggested that I have a sink as well, and that was a $214 cost. So
All right, so
We use a hand sanitizer dispenser,
yeah, I think we can.
and those are usually included in the toilets.
Yes, indeed.
So in my many conversations with the Board of Health over the last 2 days, we had touched on this topic a couple of times. And when she had asked me how many we were, thinking of, her question to me was, well, how many do you have there to begin with? And I told her that we had 2 bathrooms in the building. She didn't seem overly concerned about the amount of usage they would get, especially since mornings are busier than afternoons for like a 4-week period during swim lessons. It might be something that, maybe we start off with 2, and if we need to go to 3 during that season, or throw in an extra clean cycle, because you can throw in an extra clean cycle, correct, Rob?
Yes, that's sorry. Additional $50 cost to have a cleaning cycle, an additional one at any point.
So I think keeping it on the beach is a good idea. I think I was the one who raised the concern to you about access from the water. Not as concerned, I don't care if people come off the water to use the bathroom, more concerned that kids are gonna come off and dump it when the beach is closed. I don't know if porta facilities can actually be changed to the fence in a way that they couldn't come off. I don't have any working knowledge of portable facilities because I'm always afraid I'm gonna fall in the hole, so I don't go in there. So, there's the truth from Karen. I'm not, the only benefit to the playground side is that it's completely enclosed. Yes, it would be closer to a neighbor. We have parents have to walk from their car to the beach house along that street, and we don't have Jersey barriers, so I'm sure they could figure it out if we didn't go the Jersey barrier route if it was over there. But I do like the idea. I actually like the idea of an additional entrance down on that end anyway. I think that it's, safety wise, it's not a bad idea to have that additional gate. So maybe it's a benefit. I don't think it does. You had looked earlier, it would distance to the water is actually further from that further gate, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
There's just not an easy, I guess it could seep down through the ground if it was dumped. I don't know, does anybody have any thoughts, comments, feedback?
Karen, were you able to make the contact that we spoke about earlier?
I did. So when Dave and I spoke earlier, because again, we've had lots of conversations over Board of Health stuff. I did reach out to the Conservation Commission Chair, Bob Pease. He didn't think it would be an issue. His recommendation was actually over on the playground side, but I didn't get into it in depth with him regarding the traffic situation that can be down there in the parking. He didn't see it to be an issue. He did ask that I check in with Matt Marrow, who is the conservation agent. He was out today, so I was going to check in with him tomorrow. I feel like when we did demolition on that, I say we, it wasn't us. When Rob Oliver did the demolition on that, did we just have a dumpster out there, Dave, or was there a porta facility out there as well? Do you remember?
No, only a dumpster. They
Only
were
dumpster.
only there
Okay.
for a few hours.
Okay. So I'm not foreseeing conservation having an issue with this at all. And obviously, if conservation has an issue with it, we're probably without a paddle. But
Oh yeah.
again, we'll have to figure out that when we get to
And
it.
I think, from what I've heard this evening, I think the commission should probably vote to support Rob in a base, give him our support, but let him make the final decision and leave it open to either or, with the preference being at the far end of the beach. And if that becomes really problematic, then the plan B is down in the playground area, and then we go for the need to protect the public from the roadway.
Well, I think we need to do it, as Rob said, where they're going up almost weekly. So we're gonna need to get this at least booked sooner rather than later anyway, so.
Yeah, I also have a feeling, again, it's up to Rob, that this is in his hands. But, I've done some quoting on these things over the past year or so. And there are a couple more local companies that are cheaper than both of the ones we're talking about this evening. But then on the other side of it, you got to look at the service you get from them.
I have a question. So how many are we recommending to bring in?
Well, I think the plan has to include what the total amount we would expect to have, and then we can start off at the low end, like, the beginning season have 2, and then if necessary, or even start off at 3. It's up to, if I had statistical accurate data, I would say, I would just start off with a big bang and have 4. But I don't really know how accurate the numbers are. And if it's packed, then you need 4. If it's over 25 people a day, the suggestions that they give you are absolutely, they want you to have 6 toilets for 25 people a day. So,
Yeah, but they're trying to sell rentals.
yeah, exactly.
No, I hear you, but there must be standards out there. I mean, right? So, I mean, you talking about accurate data, I think 2019 was or no, Karen,
Well,
you kind of
so
laughed.
couldn't tell you.
I am laughing. Well, and
It boils down to our capacity on the beach, which is 75, I believe.
Yeah.
That's our maximum capacity.
well, I think that was 75 during COVID, correct?
I thought it was increased back up to 75
Well,
from a lower one.
If that's the case, then we need to figure out more, because according to some of the documents that I have from 2019, we have well over 100 people there on multiple days. So I don't know what's that?
But
Is that the entire day though, Karen?
I have to pull it up. Hold on a second.
but Karen, the people weren't there at the same time.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Well, so hold on, let me, the way it was done in 2019 was done via a piece of paper that the beach coordinator had she had it was like a checklist, a time checklist. We asked her to take attendance 3 times during the day, and that over 100 number was not just that was not a total number. That was at a certain time frame number. I'm trying to look for it right now.
Yeah, it's, the more I think about it, it's actually irrelevant, because we're not putting this affluent into a septic system that can handle X number of gallons per hour, per minute, per day. We're putting it into a tank that has a limited volume. So it doesn't matter if they're all there in the morning or they're all there in the afternoon or scattered over the day. If every single one of them uses a portable toilet, it's going to be full at the end of the day.
So I over exaggerated the numbers. So I do want to correct myself. So I've got according to what I was handed, on the 8th of July of 2019 at noontime, there were 90 people there. The next day at 11 a.m., there were 85 people. And the next day after that, there were 89, and then back to 90. So, it's hard to, I question the validity of some of these numbers, which is sort of my chuckle, because this is a time frame that I would drive by the beach and I would see nobody down there. Yet if I pulled the this document and looked, within 5 minutes of me driving by, there would be 17 people listed as being at the beach. I just don't know the accuracy of the numbers, so I'm hesitant to use that as,
And Jared shed a rough estimate. Jared's on the call. Can you shed
yeah,
a rough
Jared, do you have a rough
estimate
estimate of
what he
what
sees
last year
during
was
the
like?
day?
Last year, to give a really rough estimate, I wouldn't say there was more than 50 at one time. Then as for 2019, I don't actually remember because I never counted it at that time, but I would say 90 was accurate some days. I can't
Yep.
say every day or that specific day, but certain days it did reach 90.
Swim lesson days are busy. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and that would
You know,
probably be the only time where it ever got that much was during swim lessons. Outside of that, it never really got to that number.
yeah.
My personal feel would be that, and I think I've brushed over this with Rob a little bit, is that we start with 3, 1 ADA compliant, 2 regular toilets, and see where we need to adjust from there.
So hold on, Jared, you may not know this, but do you know what the last day of school is this year?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can look that up
Okay.
for you.
No, that's okay. I could look it up too. I was just.
After
So-
June 20th, for sure, because I know June 20th is a no school, or no, June 19th is a no school day. It's flagged in our calendars, no school, so I
Well,
think it's after.
June
the 19th.
19th is a Sunday, so I hope you don't have
Oh,
school.
sorry,
on
June
that.
20th, maybe. I think June 20th is a no school day.
Okay. So,
And you're gonna have staff there probably the week before, correct?
yeah, yep. So I'm just wondering if, so swim lessons typically don't start till, I don't know if it would be the week of the 4th this year or the week after. My guess is probably the week after, because usually it runs for 2 consecutive weeks in July and then 2 more consecutive weeks that run into the first week of August. Is that right, Jared, off your memory? Something like that. You have no audio. Are you muted, Jared?
June 22nd is last day of school.
Okay.
Well, I was just told June 16th.
Hey, your
Uh,
kids are trying to get out of school early.
No, you know what, Chris, I bet you,
No, that
did you look
wasn't
at the
from the kids.
calendar? Chris, did you look at the calendar online?
Oh, wait, hold on, I might be wrong.
And is it June 22nd with, at 185 days with 5 built-in
It
snow
is.
days?
Yeah, you're right.
So
Yeah.
I think there were only 2 snow days this year. So count back 3 days from that.
16th? Are you hearing it in the background?
I
All
am.
right, Katie.
I want y'all to know, I don't have any kids going to school, so the fact that I even
No,
know this is disturbing. So what if for the first, if we opened up, so say we opened up around the weekend of the 19th, 1, 2, 3. I'm wondering if for like the first round, we did, like the first month we did 2 to save a few bucks and then put in a third one once swim lessons start. I mean, maybe I'm just overthinking it. Maybe we should just say to Rob, do anywhere from 1 to 5 portable toilets and figure
I
out.
guess
what-
how fast can they get one there if we need an extra one? Can they get it that right away?
Yeah, that's a question, but I think the delivery charge is still gonna be the additional, I believe it's $250 or whatever comes. So if we had one there at, 200, I'm not sure if that delivery cost would be worth, like I would rather have 3 there now than
Okay,
to have it delivered.
so what if we motion?
Do
Yeah,
the,
I
do the
mean-
math to see what. I would agree with both what Dave and Karen are saying. Like, let's, we're giving Rob the authorization, say with our preference being at that end of the beach, somewhere between 2 and 5 porta potties. And let Rob use his best judgment, do the math, figure out what makes the most sense. Is it cheaper to do a second delivery for a third or fourth one come July, or does it just make sense just to have it there? You know,
Um,
and
Or
then
extra cleaning.
go from there. Extra cleaning, yeah. You know, but I think we go ahead and tell Rob to, I mean, regardless, we're gonna need porta potty, regardless of where they go, we're gonna need porta potties. So the sooner we can lock those in, if the price is continuing to go up, we might as well at least secure the porta potties themselves.
Yep.
And then, you know, go on and then figure out where we're gonna put them.
So my only other question, Rob, on this whole thing, since you are only 19 hours a week, is will you make sure that no matter what vendor you use, that the beach staff has the contact? It's usually on the side of the toilets, but just in case, they have that contact. So if they ever had to call for, it would be nice for them to have permission to call for an additional service if something happens and know who to call versus, waiting until you get back to the office, the following Tuesday.
I agree. The running and operation of the beach will be, if they have to decide on a cleaning, I will give them the ability to make sure that those things are kept up to par, because there's no reason that should be an issue at all.
Okay.
Goes without saying, we also, as we know, we have a procedure in place to put porta potties on
Yep.
land. So just
Goes with it.
make sure that we're following that same
Yeah. So, and the earlier we can get
protocol that
that
we have in mind.
over to them. So I'll take a motion in a second, but Rob, let me finish my conversation with Conservation Commission. And it just made sense for me to start it since I am friendly with Bob Pease. So let me just have a brief conversation with Matt Marrow. If there's something that we need to do, I'll let you know, and then you can run with it. And if there's not, you can just run with dealing with the Board of Health to make sure we have all the permissions that we need on that front, and you can work your magic and we can all run down to the town beach and use the portable facilities.
There we go.
All right, we'll be full compliant. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Rob, just be aware that it needs to go before the board. So their next meeting is the first Monday in May. Or you'd have to grab the third Monday in May.
Hey, Dave, if you talk to them again, can you tell them to update their policy with a time frame of how,
Yeah, I'll talk to her about that.
just because there's nothing that shows up, so, you
Right.
know. All right. So do I have a motion approving, give me a motion approving a minimum number of toilets, a maximum number of toilets, and for Rob to run with this?
Yeah, I move that we authorize Rob Thompson, excuse me, to contract with the vendor of his choice or his preference for initially 3 toilets, and if need be, increase up to 5 toilets during the season, with the preference of the commission to have them at the far end of the beach, away from the beach house. And second choice would be the fenced area where the playground used to be.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
The gate, how about a
Oh, the
gate for
gate.
the fence?
Yeah, Gate, Rob, that's you and facilities. That's really not
Okay.
us. Anyway.
All right.
So my only
I
comment on
mean, I
that,
support it. I support it. And if you want it in the motion, then add that to the beginning where I'm talking about the first location.
Okay.
First location, including a gate in the
including installation of a gate.
I'll
installation
still
of a gate.
second that.
Right.
Thank you. I guess my only feedback on that is I'm wondering if we should go a minimum of 2 to a maximum of 5, with Rob most likely going with 3. That way, if we get, because I can't imagine we're gonna need 3 for the last month.
Yeah.
Because the last month we have no swimming lessons.
Right.
So,
We could remove one in August, kind of deal.
so should we go for 2 to 5 toilets versus 3 to 5?
Sold.
All right, so
We close at the end of August anyway, or before
so
that.
in previous years, we've extended it into September and kept it open on weekends. I don't know what the money situation is going to be this year. We're seemingly spending a lot of money on toilets, but it's
Well,
always
we
a
should
possibility.
we should keep it like maintaining level service. I think that's important. Like, we have some pretty warm weekends in September. I mean, we have so few warm weekends. Please keep it open if we have it open. If you have a hot weekend in September,
You
I
got
think
it.
we- Our,
Have people, do our lifeguards go to college?
some of
So-
them
Yes.
do.
Well,
Yeah,
as long as there's people here to manage.
yeah. So that's why we're usually not open during the week, is because our high school kids are in class during the week, and then our college kids usually are done by the end of August, and that's it for the season. So doing the weekends, especially when Jen Nass was the director, that made sense because she was a teacher and she wasn't available during the week. So our seasonal application, I think, went in, what, Rob, through the middle of September for our employees?
Yes, yes. It seasonal, I believe, starts I want to say June 4th, June 6th, and it goes into September.
And Labor Day weekend is the 5th of September. So I don't know, just, I figured maybe give him a little bit of flexibility, so that if 3 is overkill, he doesn't have to come back to us. So.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna fluctuate those numbers from one month to the next to the next.
I have no idea, not mine.
You start paying all kinds of pickup fees and drop-off fees and all that kind of stuff, because if you go too far, then you gotta bring one back and there's a delivery fee, and I'm not sure, I don't remember if there was a termination fee, which was basically the removal of the toilets or not. Anyway,
I-
Whatever.
I will find out.
that's,
If you wanna leave it-
all. That's all.
Do you want to
Rob's
leave it
issue.
3 to 5, or do you want to go to 2 to 5?
I'd like to leave it 3 to 5. I think we should have a minimum of
3 to 5.
Okay.
Because if they're gonna whack you a couple $100 every time you pick up or drop off, at
Can we-
that point, it's not worth it.
All right, so if we can't fit that many, Rob, you'll obviously have to come back to us and let us know.
We
Well,
can
if you
fit.
can't fit
We
that
can
many,
fit 3.
go to the
So
other
I
side.
have a
Oh,
motion,
that's yeah.
I have a motion in front of me to allow Rob to contract with the vendor of his choice for 3 to 5 portable toilets with a preference of a location of the far end of the beach. If a gate can be installed, and the second location would be the playground area. I got that?
Yes.
All right, and I have a second on that, so let's do a quick roll call vote on that. Chris?
Aye.
Dave?
I,
Pat?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
And it's an aye for myself, and this better be the last vote we take for a long time on portable potties. I have never in my life thought we'd have this much discussion on portable potties that your chair won't even use because she's afraid she's gonna fall in the hole.
I withhold comment.
All right, so do we have anything else on the beach that you can think of right now, Rob?
Not necessarily. I'm concerned about shelter, but they are lifeguards, so I'm really not sure which way in terms of if it's needed to have, but they do have the porch. The porch is awfully large. I'm going to be out there until the season starts cleaning up, but other than that, I have really no major concerns other than the building not being there really
Okay.
for our benefited use.
Okay,
Rob, are you aware that the sand was machine groomed last spring?
I am not aware of any of that.
Okay, I'll get that information to you off.
I was about to ask
offline.
Dave to do that, yep. Yeah, I think the awning will be helpful. I also think we may, and this is fine, we may see the beach closed a little bit more often than we have in the past, because maybe on a dreary day where they cross their fingers and hope for a couple of patrons, they may not be as apt to do that if they have no shelter. This isn't necessarily shelter, but can we look into getting some umbrellas for the lifeguard stands, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. The only other thing I can think of on the beachfront side is swim lessons. And that was a hard one, I think, when it was put into my rec. I'm happy, I know Honor is as well, to help you with that, but you probably have no idea how swim lessons have been run in the past and the hours and stuff like that.
I don't know the actual scheduling, but I am familiar now by seeing my rec that it's going to be a lot of inputting hours throughout the calendar.
Is there a way to just reactivate what was there last year?
Yes, absolutely.
So you might find the swim lessons in there from last year. They probably need to be tweaked though. So Liz Simeone would probably be the person to have that conversation with, because she's been doing this forever, as well as Jen Nass. So I did find it. I believe this was our fee structure for swim lessons last year. It was $25 per student, with a maximum of $75 per family per session. So that's what we had done last year. I don't know. So think about it. If you think we need to, adjust our prices, we can certainly take that up at our next meeting. And the other thing is, I think I had sent it in an email. We might want to check with Jen Nass to see if she would be willing to put in an application for a lifeguard, even if it's a per diem position, even if she only is hired and only works the first 2 weeks of the season in order to be able to offer the lifeguard class. But I don't think we can have her in there running a lifeguard class unless she's technically an employee. So she may be willing to do that, because I know that the lifeguarding class has always been important to her.
I'll get that
And
information.
the other thing, to work with her or Liz and make sure that we get our Red Cross certification.
Yep.
So that when these kids take it, in years past, she's always paid for it, and then we reimburse, but it's a pain in the neck to can't deal with that reimbursement. So if the rec department can just pay for it from the get-go, that'd be the preferred method.
Karen, I think the last 2 years, we've also been able to transfer an AED either from the fire department or police department, so that there's one on site for that each season.
It might even be down at the DPW. But I'm going to assume that either Jen or Liz knows where that was moved to. Because when I was down there, the drawer that was marked for the AED was empty. Up, Jared's here. Jared, come on. Join in. There he is. Go ahead, Jared.
Muted.
We have no sound.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, his audio's gone. Type it in the comments, Jared.
Yeah, put it in the chat. I can read it out.
I would, one other thing, Rob, to advertise just social media wise, if once we confirm the pricing, make sure we're all set with all that kind of stuff and when they're offered. We can also send that out on the kind of social media interwebs and
You got it.
So happy to kind of broadcast that kind of stuff, help you out.
The AED
Excellent.
was given to the DPW at the end of the season. He said it was given to Rob Oliver. So
It's
I'm gonna guess-
going to need to be certified so that it's functional.
yeah, make sure that it's up to snuff. And I'm assuming that the fire chief will be able to assist with making sure we know how to do that.
Yep.
And the only other thing on the AED front is we need to make sure we have a place to store it. Because with no facilities down there, I'm not sure how whether it needs to come and go with a lifeguard every night. I don't know how the liability of that works, but we need to figure that piece out as well.
You got it.
Can
Absolutely.
we put nothing in that building? Is that the,
Yeah, so that front wall.
so
is
we
just
can just
not-
drop inside the door at night?
Make water
Yeah,
down
I was wondering if we could do that, like just unlock it to stick that in. That would obviously be up to most likely our building inspector to make that decision. We can certainly ask that.
They also make waterproof boxes for those. You could stick it to the front of the building, depending on, I don't know what the charge of the price of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To
Even,
Jared's question, if we can't store their equipment in the building, we're going to have a job box on property.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you price a job box out too?
I will.
We have a whole bunch of picnic tables down there. Maybe we can redesign them into a storage box.
We need to move those to Marshall Pond so they get used.
Yep.
Do you have a picnic? Is there a picnic table coming to Marshall Pond still?
I thought so.
Isn't there one for the left side of the,
Yeah, I'll follow up with the donor and see what he has to say. All right, great. Wallace Park basketball court is, I left it general. It's on there for the main reason, it needs some repair. Did you get any? So we had this done 2020. Am I right in that date, Rob? Was it 2020?
I believe so. It's out of warranty.
So in 2020, we had the basketball court at Wallace Park resurfaced. Last year, I had walked the court at Wallace and had noticed some cracking, and had reached out to Kayla, and that I guess wasn't covered under warranty. Dave went down there a few weeks ago and was walking it, and the condition between last year and this year, totally different. It is the mesh that they use to resurface it is actually exposed. There's a whole bunch of areas that are exposed. So Rob, you had reached out to Northeast, whatever they are.
Yes, I contacted them. They told me they're going to send out a technician to, kind of get it a look over, and then they are going to give me what it would take to, get back to the surfaces that we're looking for, but they'll suggest which direction. But it is not covered under warranty.
Okay.
and that was done 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So is there a better solution than something that we're gonna have to replace every 2 years? Obviously, if they're not willing to stand by something that's only 2 years old for an outdoor sort of deal, like we need to
And it
come up with a
hasn't
better
even been 2
long-term.
years. I don't
Yeah,
think it was.
we need a better long-term solution, I think, before we're spending more money with the same company and gonna have the same issue in 2024.
Yeah, Chris, what it boils down to is putting a new surface on an old base is the issue. No company will guarantee them for any lengthy period of time when you're putting it down on a base that's already cracked, and that's what we did. And that base is cracked, and that's where all the wear and tear is.
So, and we may need to come up with a different solution. I don't know. It would be, that court is well used. So my other question is, and I don't know how this works because I don't know, these things sort of magically appear. Can we look into doing some signage for Wallace Park even just in terms of closing times? So that park is open from dawn to dusk. But every year, and this won't necessarily stop it. We get a lot of older kids that come down and they shine their headlights on the court at all hours of the night to use that court. And it's a disruption to the neighbors. Yes. But I did let the police chief know a few years ago what the opening and closing times were. I think it's just hard to enforce when there's no sign up there that says, look, you're breaking the rules.
No, I agree. We definitely need signage. I guess to Chris's comment about is there some type of floor we could use? They do use, you can put a floating floor that, is not subjected to the expansion and, the ice melting and thawing and whatever. That's another possibility, but that is another general route you could go. It's a floating floor, so it's not attached to anything, and you can replace the pieces as time goes on. And that's what they use in Europe for multi-use courts, basketball courts, soccer courts, the more high-pace multi-use courts have, I guess it's like a Milek type of flooring that is used. It might even be the same type that's used in deck hockey. I'm not sure. But I could look into it if anybody's interested in that.
My personal opinion is first we find out if we can do a maintenance job on it and get a couple more years out of it. Possibly maintaining on a yearly basis when we come out of the winter season, because we've got a substantial investment in that surface.
We do.
I agree.
I don't remember, but I know it was over $27,000.
Yeah, it was expensive. It was covered on the capital plan of 2020.
Right.
I believe.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't get that same floor for 50,000 this year. But a floating floor would, in the future, I think would be probably our best laid efforts.
Do you know the cost of a floating floor?
That's, I have to measure out the square footage. I could not tell you.
All right. Rob, while we're on the Wallace Court side, so for those that have not heard, we have a new DPW director starting on the 19th. And we are still under the DPW. As the season is warming up and people are out there more using those courts, we end up with a trash problem. Yes, we do have a trash can down there. The trash doesn't make it to the trash can. It lines the court and neighbors end up picking it up, and the neighbors aren't necessarily complaining that they have to pick it up, but it's not what they really want to do. I'm just wondering if, you know, I don't know what our staffing is like down there, but, you know, maybe once a week we have somebody going down and, you know, grabbing the trash that has lined the edges of the courts to get it disposed of.
Who is
properly.
the new DPW director?
That's a good question, and I don't remember his name.
It's okay.
He's
Is
from,
it Rob?
No,
where-
Yeah,
From where?
another Rob.
Another
is it
Rob.
James? James, do you know who it is, Rob?
I can tell you in a second here.
I had it. I might be able to get it on my phone. Was his name even announced as I have this before I tell you
maybe
who
not.
it is?
It was on the agenda.
Okay, so his name is James Donison.
Okay.
Previously, DPW director for the city of Lowell. Most recently, I believe a DPW director up in New Hampshire. Now making the move down to us.
Lebanon, New Hampshire, up near the Vermont border, lives
Yep.
in Ware, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
35 minutes away from Lunenburg.
Welcome, James.
Yeah, I'm excited to get somebody back in the position and see what we can do. Maybe we can keep up with some of our facilities that appear to be falling down around us. All right, so that's that. I don't think there's any other business. Does anybody have any public or board comments at this point in the meeting? You guys have made it easy. So our next meeting date, what would you guys like? And do we want to go back to trying to stick with the same week and day per month?
Do we have anything pressing that we need to meet sooner as far as anything else with the beach or anything else that we have to?
I don't,
Tackle?
not that I'm
I don't
aware
think
of,
so,
but
right?
even if there was any time in May, we can tackle that. So Chris, you are booked on Tuesdays and Fridays
Correct.
for the foreseeable future. Pat, do you have any day restraints? Where your schedule's always changing and we're gonna just wing it?
Yeah, my schedule changes week to week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dave, Thursdays are your tight days,
Every other Thursday.
Thursday. And Anna, do you have any day restraints?
No, I mean, whenever like tonight, I can always hop in and be mostly not on video, but I can make it.
What about the third Wednesday of the month for the next couple of months? So that would be the 18th of May, the 15th of June, the 20th of July.
That's fine.
That
But
should,
if it doesn't work for you, Pat, speak up. It's okay.
I am, no, I was just looking, the only one I'm at the fire station, the 18th of May.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And if you can't, we completely understand if you can't join us. It's not like it's.
If it's a Zoom meeting, I can do it.
Okay.
You know, I just have to. leave
Does
right away.
anybody dislike Zoom enough that we need to leave it right now? I like the convenience.
I love
I'm fine with
Zoom.
it.
Okay, so I would like to stay with Zoom until the state tells us otherwise, and I don't foresee any community meetings coming up, so I'm fine continuing with Zoom.
Yeah, if it's a Zoom meeting, as long as I can get in on it, as long as everybody stays healthy at the fight.
Yeah. Okay, so let's aim for the third Wednesday of the month. So that would be the 18th of May would be our next meeting. As always, probably the week prior, I will send out an email asking if
Is that
anybody has.
before the vote or after the vote? When is voting?
Oh, yeah, I might
'Cause,
not be
you know,
elected.
I might not get voted in, so I don't know if I.
Well, now that you guys say that, maybe we should make sure we have the meeting after the next election when we have to reconfigure this board so that I don't have to be your chair anymore. Let me look.
You ready, Pat?
Yep, the newest member gets the position of chair. Did we
Oh, awesome.
fail to tell you that?
Yes,
Let's
I already
see.
have the signs that says "Don't vote for me." So
So
By the
it-
way, if anybody needs voting sign stakes, I was handed a few today that somebody was cleaning out their garage. They figured I'd find somebody that could use them.
I don't think anybody's running opposed, are they?
I don't think
No,
any.
but occasionally people put signs out anyway.
Yeah, we know. There's Dave. I'm
Yeah.
currently using one of your signs for something else. I don't mean to insult you, but I'm using it as a window blocker, I think. The election is the 21st of May. So that would be my last, let me be nice about it. That would be the
That
meeting.
will not be your last of anything, Karen. if I
No,
may
it's
so-
not, but I will not lie. I am looking forward to hopefully passing the baton to
Doing a fabulous job.
somebody. I
know,
don't want
I
to chair
know.
again.
Okay, let's talk about this next month, okay?
Okay,
We're
so
gonna talk
just,
about this next month.
all right, fine. May 18th, let's aim for that. 7
Does your
o'clock.
arm
Yeah,
hurt
let's
you,
aim for
Karen?
that.
What, Dave?
Does your arm hurt yet?
No, why? Because I'm
Twist-
being twisted.
Twisting.
Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll change my mind between then and now. Maybe the hecticness of the last couple of days will eventually die down. Everything always hits at the worst time, and this was the worst time this week.
It always is.
I had some not so nice words to say when I had to call the Board of Health. So she's used to hearing it from me, but I was like, like we have better things to be doing, and only one of us is paid, and it's not me. So, all right, let's go with the 18th.
Which brings up the comment about stipends for volunteers that spend their entire day on the phone with paid staff of town.
I know, it's crazy.
We're gonna put in a proposal for that in the next fiscal year.
Let's just get Marshall Park done and then we can talk about stipends. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn at 9:02 PM?
So moved.
Second? Great, thanks, Chris. Quick roll call. Dave?
Aye.
Pat? Chris?
Aye.
Anna?
Hi.
Awesome, and it's an eye for myself. We are done. Thank you so much, folks. Rob, we'll
Thanks,
connect.
everybody.
Tomorrow,
Everybody.
connect with you next week.
Thanks all.
Thank you, Rob.
right.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Yeah.